Hello class 10 students, I hope everyone is doing well. So this is the last lecture number 11 of the chapter Life Process. Now let us see excretion. Biochemical reactions constantly occur in the cells of a living organism. Now what do you mean by biochemical reactions? Yes, the chemical reactions that takes place in the cells. After digestion, the food is carried to the cells by the blood. So see, after digestion, the food is carried to the cells by the blood. Now inside the cell, energy is produced from the food in the form of ATP. So inside the cell, energy is produced from the food in the form of ATP. But along with the required substances, it also produces harmful substances like urea, uric acid and ammonia. So inside the cell, along with the required substances, it also produces some harmful substances like urea, uric acid and ammonia. Then if these products if allowed to accumulate in the body, it may cause serious damage, sometimes leading to death. So if we allow to accumulate these harmful substances in our body, then it may cause serious damage and sometimes leading to death. Therefore, they need to be eliminated from the body. Therefore, we need to eliminate these harmful substances from the body. So let us see how these harmful substances are eliminated from our body. So the blood carries them to the kidneys. Now let us see. In the kidneys filter the blood and remove the waste products in the form of urine. So these are the kidneys. So they filter the blood and then remove the waste products in the form of urine. Okay. Now the excretory system in human beings includes pair of kidneys. So we have got a pair of kidneys. From the kidneys, two thin tubes come out called as ureters. So as you can see here, from the kidneys, two thin tubes coming out and they are called ureters. Both the ureters open in a bag-like organ called urinary bladder. As you can see here, both the ureters they open in a bag-like organ and it is called urinary bladder. The urinary bladder opens into a small tube-like structure called urethra. Now this urinary bladder it opens into a small tube-like structure and this is called urethra. Alright. Next we will see the human excretory system. Now I will show you the level diagram for human excretory system. This is the kidney, this one is the ureter, this bladder is the urinary bladder and this one is urethra. Now see here, the artery that carries blood to the kidneys is called as renal artery. So this is the renal artery which carries blood to the kidneys. Next see, the vein that carries blood from the kidneys is called as renal vein. So this is the renal vein which carries blood from the kidneys. Now don't get confused between renal artery and renal vein because renal artery they carries blood to the kidneys whereas renal vein they carries blood from the kidneys. Clear everyone? Now let us have a look at the vertical section of the kidney. So this is the vertical section of the kidney. As you can see here, the triangular region is called as medulla. So this triangular region is called medulla. Now the region outside the medulla is called as, so the region outside the medulla, as you can see here, it is called the cortex. This one is the renal artery and this is the renal vein. So renal artery they carries blood to the kidneys whereas renal vein they carries blood from the kidneys, right? Now the region where the urethra begins is called as, so the region, this portion where the urethra begins is called as the renal pelvis. Clear? Now this one is the urethra. Alright, I hope everyone understood. Now see, kidneys are bean-shaped organs. As you can see, kidneys are bean-shaped organs. Situated at the backside of the abdomen, one on either side of the vertebral column. So kidneys are situated at the backside of our abdomen, one on either side of the vertebral column. Basic filtration unit in the kidney is a cluster of thin-walled capillaries. Now see the vertical section of a kidney. You can see here a cluster of thin-walled capillaries. So they are called nephron. Now let us see the structure of nephron. So the structure of nephron is very important from your examination point of view. So please practice it. The cup-shaped upper end is called, as you can see, this is a cup-shaped in the upper end. It is called Bowman's capsule. The coiled tube-like structure is called as tubule. So this is the coiled tube-like structure. It is called tubule. Next, see, the duct is called as collecting duct. So this is duct. It is known as the collecting duct. The renal artery enters the Bowman's capsule and forms a network of capillaries called as, okay, so see here, this is the renal artery which enters the Bowman's capsule and it forms a network of capillaries called as glomerulus. As you can see, this is called glomerulus. The nephron is surrounded by a network of capillaries. As you can see, the nephron, it is surrounded by a network of capillaries. Now let us see the process of urine formation. As we know that blood contains urea, ammonia, uric acid, water and other useful substances. Right? Now this blood enters the glomerulus through the renal artery. As you can see here, blood is entering into the glomerulus through the renal artery. This is the renal artery. When blood passes through the glomerulus, it gets filtered. So when blood passes through the glomerulus, it gets filtered. Urea, uric acid, ammonia, water and other useful substances gets filtered out from the blood and this fluid collects in the Bowman's capsule. So useful substances like urea, uric acid, ammonia, water, they gets filtered out from the blood and this fluid it collects in the Bowman's capsule. So this fluid is called as glomerular filtrate. The filtered blood is sent back to the heart through the renal vein and the filtered blood it is sent back to the heart through the renal vein. So this is the renal vein. Clear everyone? The glomerular filtrate passes through the tubule. As you can see here, the glomerular filtrate it passes through the tubule. Now in the tubule, reabsorption of water and useful molecules takes place. So see here, in the tubule, reabsorption of water and useful molecules takes place. The remaining fluid containing the waste forms the urine which passes through the tubule and enters the collecting duct. So the remaining fluid which contains the waste, it forms the urine and then it passes through the tubule and enters the collecting duct. Eventually, the urine enters the ureters and is carried to the urinary bladder. So at the end, the urine it enters the ureters and is carried to the urinary bladder. So this is the urinary bladder. It is stored in the urinary bladder and from there it is thrown out through the urethra. So the urine it is stored in the urinary bladder and from there it is thrown out through the urethra. So urethra is present at the end of this urinary bladder. Now we will see what is hemodialysis. Many factors like injury, infections or restricted blood flow to kidneys reduce the activity of kidneys. This is called as kidney failure. So you might have heard the term kidney failure, right? So factors like injury, infections or restricted blood flow to kidneys which reduce the activity of kidneys and this is called as kidney failure. It leads to accumulation of poisonous waste in the body which may lead to death. So kidney failure it leads to accumulation of poisonous waste in our body which may lead to death. In this case, kidney failure, an artificial machine is used to remove the nitrogenous waste products from the blood. So in case of this kidney failure, an artificial machine is used which removes the nitrogenous waste products from the blood. And that machine is called the hemodialysis machine. So this is the hemodialysis machine. This portion is called the hemodialyzer where the filtering takes place. So as you can see here, blood is purified in the hemodialyzer. So this is the waste product. This process is called as dialysis. Then this purified blood is pumped back into the body of the patient. So here the blood is purified, then that purified blood is pumped back into the body of the patient. At one time, 500 ml of blood is passed through the dialyzing machine. So at one time, 500 ml of blood is passed through the dialyzing machine. Now, do plants excrete? You might be thinking, right? Yes, plants do excrete. But in plants, excretion is very simple. It is not complicated like human beings. There is no definite excretory system or organ. So in plants, there is no excretory system or any organ. Gases are eliminated by diffusion. So by diffusion, gases are eliminated. Waste stored in vacuoles of leaves, flower, fruit, bark. So waste, they are stored in the vacuoles of leaves, flower, fruit and bark. Vacuoles means empty spaces in cells. Now other waste products are stored as resins and gum in old xylem. So resins, they are some chemicals present in the plants. So these are the other ways which stored as resins and gum in old xylem. So plants also excrete some waste substance into the soil, and plants, they excrete some waste substance into the soil. I hope everyone is clear. So thank you students, we are done for this chapter.